In 1940, a bag of gray powder cost American farmers about $2. They spread it by the ton. Fields that got it stayed dark and alive. Fields that didn't slowly went pale. Then synthetic fertilizer arrived, and the powder was forgotten within a generation. Here's the strange part. Soil scientists who went back to those old fields found the powder was still working. Some of those fields had not been fertilized in decades. The soil tests still came back rich. Because it never fed the plants at all. It fed the life underneath them. Today, 7 mineral amendments that work on that same principle. Most cost less than a takeaway coffee. One of them was buried under the Amazon rainforest for 2,000 years. And it is still working today. But we start with the $2 powder itself. Number 1. Basalt rock dust. Basalt is volcanic rock. The same black stone that built Iceland, crushed to a flour so fine it vanishes into soil within weeks. Quarries produce it as a byproduct of crushing stone, which is why a 20-kilo bag still costs pocket money. Under a microscope, the powder looks like shattered glass. Each shard is a sealed vault of calcium, magnesium, iron, and dozens of rarer elements. This is the powder those 1940 farmers were buying. It never went away. Garden centers just stopped putting it at eye level. Here's why it works when fertilizer doesn't. That difference explains a pattern gardeners know too well. Beds that get fertilizer every single year, yet somehow grow worse every year. Synthetic fertilizer hands plants 3 nutrients and bypasses the soil entirely. The soil becomes a dead sponge that holds roots and nothing more. Rock dust carries dozens of trace minerals locked inside stone. Locked until soil life gets to work. Chemists call the process weathering. In nature, it takes centuries. In living soil, microbes shrink centuries into seasons. Bacteria and fungi digest that rock, slowly, converting minerals into forms roots can actually drink. Watch how this chain works. Feed the microbes. And the microbes feed everything else. Field trials on worn-out cropland keep finding the same pattern. Rock dust plus organic matter outperforms either one alone. And that's exactly why this channel exists, by the way. If nobody has told you how your soil actually works, subscribe. Every week, one more thing the garden center skips. Application. Roughly 500 grams per square meter once a year. That's 2 big double handfuls. Rake it into the top few centimeters and water it in. Spring or autumn, either works. Don't expect fireworks in week 1. The first visible change is usually deeper leaf color, a month or 2 in. It cannot burn roots no matter how much you use. It's rock, not salt. One honest caveat. Rock dust shines on sandy, tired, over-farmed ground with active soil life. Rich dark loam already full of minerals will barely notice it. If your quarry only offers granite dust, it works, but slower, with a narrower mineral band. Basalt first, whenever you have the choice. Pro tip. Add a handful to the compost heap every time you turn it. The heap's microbes pre-digest the minerals, so the compost arrives already charged. And if you only keep one number from this entire video, make it this one. 500 grams, once a year, any square meter you care about. That's the $2 powder. But there's a version of it that fell out of the sky. Number 2. Azomite. 30 million years ago, a volcano erupted over what is now Utah, and the ash settled into an ancient lake bed. That lake bed is mined today, bagged, and sold under the name Azomite. Volcanic ash, with around 70 trace elements in the analysis. The name stands for A to Z of minerals, and for once, the marketing is roughly honest. It works through exactly the same doorway as basalt. Microbes weather the ash, roots collect the change. The difference is texture. Ash is finer than crushed rock, so the release starts faster. Think about what a pot really is. Roots that cannot forage. Whatever minerals came with the compost, that's the entire menu. Fine ash widens it fast. So which one should you buy? Here's the honest comparison. Basalt is cheaper and steadier. Azomite starts faster and suits containers, where soil life is limited and every gram counts. The price gap matters at scale. Beds measured in meters want Basalt. Pots measured in liters barely notice Azomite's premium. If the budget only stretches to one, buy Basalt for the garden and keep Azomite for the pots. Either way, you're buying decades of patience in a bag. Both outlast every liquid feed on the shelf by years. It's certified for organic growing, and like Basalt, it cannot burn. Growers use the ash on everything from tomatoes to turf, and it blends invisibly instead of crusting on the surface. Pro tip: dust a teaspoon into every planting hole for transplants. The fine ash sits right where new roots will spend their first month. Now, before we get to the Amazon, there's an amendment being wasted by the bag in almost every garden in America. Number 3. Greensand. 70 million years ago, this was ocean floor. Now it's sold in bags, and it's the color of old jade. The mineral is called glauconite. It forms only in shallow, ancient seas, which is why the deposits are so old. Each green grain spent millions of years soaking in mineral-rich seawater. That stored history is the payload you're buying. Greensand is the patience play of this list. It carries potassium, around 3%, plus iron, and it releases over years, not weeks. Potassium is the mineral behind stem strength, flower size, and fruit flavor. Most soils burn through it constantly. Watch for the potassium hunger signs: scorched leaf edges, weak floppy stems, fruit that tastes watery. Greensand is the slow correction. And greensand has a second job. In sandy soil, those ancient sea particles hold moisture like a sponge. In heavy clay, it performs the opposite trick, wedging tiny gaps that let water drain instead of pool. Work it in at planting time and forget about it. This is an investment amendment. You're paying Season 4's bill today. A single application at planting carries a bed for 3 to 4 years. Cost per season, pennies. Because the release is so slow, it pairs perfectly with the faster items on this list. Greensand is the baseline, not the melody. Pair it with the kelp coming later in this list, and you've bracketed potassium from both ends. Fast signal, slow supply. Pro tip: blend it into the bottom of new raised beds before the soil goes in. You will never get a better chance to place it deep. Next, the one gardeners waste by the bag. Number 4. Gypsum. And this one comes with a warning. Walk any garden center in spring and you'll see it. Gypsum, sold as the clay soil cure. Millions of gardeners pour it on every year. Most of them are wasting every gram. Here's the part the bag doesn't explain. This is the wrong turn half the gardening world takes every spring. And the test that prevents it costs nothing. It's a jam jar. Gypsum is calcium sulfate. The calcium works by displacing sodium stuck between clay particles, letting them clump into crumbs with air gaps. Picture clay as a stack of wet playing cards. Sodium glues the deck flat. Calcium shuffles it into a loose pile that air can enter, which means it only works when sodium is the problem. Coastal gardens. Roadside beds hit by de-icing salt. Soften water irrigation. On ordinary heavy clay with no sodium issue, gypsum does almost nothing. Extension researchers have been saying this for decades. The bags still don't. The telltale symptoms: water sitting for hours after rain, a gray crust when it dries, plants yellowing no matter how much you feed. So here's a home check before you spend a penny. 3 steps. Drop soil in a jar of rainwater and shake it. If the water is still cloudy a full day later, sodium is keeping your clay dispersed. Gypsum will help. If it settles clear, save your money. What ordinary clay actually wants is organic matter. Compost, every year, without fail. If the jar says yes, the rate is about 200 grams per square meter once. Then retest next season before repeating. And unlike lime, Gypsum won't move your pH. That's what makes it safe near acid lovers like blueberries and rhododendrons. The sulfate half is a quiet bonus. Sulfur runs short in gardens far from industry, and onions and brassicas notice it first. Now, the Amazon, and the 2,000-year-old promise I made you at the start. Number 5. Biochar. Deep in the Amazon basin, there are patches of soil that should not exist. Jet black, meters deep, surrounded by some of the poorest dirt on Earth. The locals call it terra preta, dark earth. It was made by people more than 2,000 years ago. They folded charred plant waste into their fields, generation after generation. The civilization vanished. The soil is still outgrowing everything around it. Archaeologists keep finding pottery shards mixed all through it. This wasn't an accident of nature. It was soil engineered by hand. Modern soil science finally explained why. Char is a honeycomb. 1 gram holds a surface area bigger than a tennis court. You can buy it bagged or make it. Bonfire leftovers count if they're true charcoal. Ash is a different chemical entirely and far harsher. All those microscopic rooms become permanent housing for microbes and a sponge for water and nutrients that would otherwise wash away. The numbers from controlled studies are hard to ignore. Biochar alone lifted yields 43%. Charged with compost, 155. That compost pairing is not optional garnish. The char is the hotel. Compost is the guests. Empty hotels don't grow food. But there is one rule that decides whether biochar helps you or hurts you. You must charge it first. Raw char is an empty hotel, thrown straight on the garden. It fills its rooms by stealing nutrients from your plants for months. Charging is simple. 3 steps. Mix it half and half with finished compost. Keep it moist for 2 weeks, then work it in. Half a kilo per square meter to start. Do that once, and it never needs doing again. Char doesn't decompose. What you bury this spring will still be working in 50 years. One practical note. Crush it to pea size or smaller before charging. Surface area is the entire game. 2,000 years in the Amazon says it'll outlast us all. And the next item comes from the other end of the planet, the sea. Number 6. Kelp Meal. Everything else on this list feeds soil. Kelp is different. Kelp sends signals. Kelp is one of the fastest growing organisms on Earth. Some species stretch half a meter in a single day. That speed runs on natural growth hormones, cytokinins and auxins. And when kelp is dried and milled, the hormones survive. Farmers on Atlantic coasts knew this centuries before the chemistry existed. Seaweed on the fields was standard practice from Ireland to Brittany. In your soil, those molecules act like a dispatch office. They tell root cells to divide, shoots to branch, and stressed plants to hold on. Trials keep measuring the same quiet advantages. More root mass, earlier flowering, and plants that shrug off heat spikes. That's why kelp shows up in drought trials and transplant studies. It doesn't feed the plant so much as steady its nerve. It also carries potassium and a wide band of micronutrients, the minerals that quietly go missing from tired soil. It's also one of the few amendments that works in a watering can. Liquid kelp for the fast response, meal for the slow build. 100 grams per square meter, worked into the top of the bed once or twice a season. It's gentle. There is no overdose cliff. A bed that gets compost, rock dust, and kelp has food, minerals, and signaling covered. That trio is most of soil care. Pro tip: kelp at transplant time is the closest thing gardening has to a safety net. Dust the hole, water in, and the move barely registers. One more to go. And I saved the strangest for last. It isn't sold in garden centers at all. Number 7. Crushed oyster shell. Walk past the garden center and into a farm supply store. On the poultry aisle, you'll find crushed oyster shell, sold as chicken grit. Same calcium carbonate the garden industry bottles as soil calcium. A fraction of the price, because chickens don't pay premium. Oyster Shell is a slow, gentle lime. It nudges acidic soil toward neutral over months and adds calcium as it goes. Acidity locks nutrients away from most vegetables. Below a pH of 6, phosphorus starts going invisible to roots. Shell slowly reopens the ledger. Slow is a feature here. Powdered lime can lurch your pH in weeks. Shell moves it like a glacier, no overshoot. Crush size sets the speed here too. Grit dissolves over seasons. If you need faster, look for oyster shell flour instead. And since we're on calcium, let's kill the biggest calcium myth in gardening. Blossom end rot. Those black-bottom tomatoes are almost never caused by soil lacking calcium. The real culprit is irregular watering, which blocks calcium transport inside the plant. Millions of tubs of calcium spray are sold on that misunderstanding every single summer. So Shell helps the soil bank over years. But if your tomatoes are rotting this summer, mulch and a watering schedule will fix more than any amendment. Scatter Shell grit in autumn at about 200 grams per square meter on acidic beds and let winter carry it down. Worms drag the fragments down as they work, so deep digging is optional. The soil installs it for you. Pro tip: skip it entirely if your soil already tests neutral or alkaline. More calcium there does nothing but lock out iron. Before we close, let's stack all 7 into one yearly plan because they're designed to overlap. Here's the calendar. Autumn, Shell grit on acid beds, Greensand anywhere sandy. Winter rain carries both down for you. Spring, Basalt across everything. Kelp into every transplant hole and watering can. And once, whenever you're ready for it, charge Biochar. That square meter is upgraded for the rest of your life. Gypsum stays on the bench until a jam jar calls its name. Total cost for an average garden, well under the price of 2 bags of branded fertilizer. The difference is this list compounds. 7 amendments. 1 principle. Stop feeding plants. Start feeding the thing that feeds them. The $2 powder from 1940 was never a miracle. It was just patience ground into dust. Every bag on this list costs less than a month of the liquid feed habit. And every one of them outlasts it by years. So here's my question. Which of these 7 is already sitting in your shed, and which one are you trying first? Tell me in the comments, and add your growing zone. I read them, and your zone changes which of these matters most. Until next time, let the soil do the work.